everyone, today I am going to be showing you my setup for the last half of 2021 in my new bullet journal. My old bullet journal has too few pages left, so I decided to start a new one. The one that I am currently using in this video is a B5 Archer and Olive notebook. It is the dot grid notebook, and you'll see the cover momentarily. It's really pretty. I used a lot of different mediums in this spread. I will list all of those down below for you in case you are interested, but otherwise, enjoy the video. So here I am starting my grid spacing cheat sheet. I am using my Sakura Pigma Micron in the plastic nib tip to trace everything out. I did use pencil to sketch everything beforehand just to make my life a little easier. If you don't know what a grid spacing cheat sheet is, basically what it is it helps you space everything out properly. So if you're making a calendar and you're wondering how many squares you need for it, you can use it as a guide to help you out. Then what I'm going to do is I am going to paint in the circles, the abstract circles that I have there, with some watercolor paint as well. Next thing I am going to do is start filling in my key. I don't typically use a key, but for the purpose of the video and the spread, I wanted to include one just in case if I end up using it for my own reference. I'm just writing down the typical symbols and meanings that I use, so then that way they're there in case I forget or something like that. But it's a very simple spread. It's nothing really too crazy. obviously I'm doing some faux calligraphy there where the word key is, because I wanted to give it a little bit of character on that one. And then what I'm going to do is take my Secura Pigma Micron again and trace over these circles to give them some more bold lines. I just thought that it would look a little bit more clean, and it would hide any mistakes that I made while I was painting. And to seal the deal, I am taking some double-sided tape and I'm placing it on the back of the fold-out page, and I'm going to glue it to the left-hand side of my bullet journal. Flipping over to the next spread, we are doing my quote page. I decided to do a quote from the Bell Jar by Sylvia Plath, which is one of my favorite books ever. This quote is from the last third of the book, and I am just writing in this very whimsical cursive font, which is somewhat ironic for whatever reason, because the book is very intense. The quote reads, "Sorry baby, there is no subway." It is from a part in the book where Esther pretends to not know somebody and wants to get away from someone who's apparently coming, but it turns out not to be that person that she thinks it is. And it's a very interesting scene, actually, if you read the book. And then what I'm doing is I'm taking a little bit of watercolor paint here, and I'm doing a bit of a highlight on the words on the bottom there, the Bell Jar and Sylvia Plath, just to add a little color. And then moving on to the cover page, I am doing 2021 in very large numbers, as you can see here. And then we do have some abstract circles that we will fill in with watercolor as well. After I finish tracing everything, I am going to hatch in the thicker lines on the 2021. I just wanted to do hatching instead of actually filling the whole thing in, just because it adds a little bit more character, but also that's what Elizabeth Plant-Based Bride does, and I just thought it looked really nice, so I wanted to emulate that as well. But obviously the cover is a little different than what she did. I just wanted to add my own little twist, because the lettering was very challenging, and I tried to do the original lettering but totally failed, so I just decided to do something a little bit different for this one. I am still using the same size Pigma Micron, by the way. There's no changes at all for that one, but yeah, I'm going to finish that, and then I am going to get my watercolors again, and I am going to paint in those circles. texture log, which is quite honestly the most tedious spread ever known to man. Although it is so useful, it is also extremely time consuming. However, I'm really proud of myself because I did it, and it was lovely to see how it turned out because I thought it looked really, really good. I was very happy with it. I'm just tracing over my letters again with my same Picra Micron, and then I'm going to trace over all of the calendars. I believe the calendars are 7 by 9, just because I needed extra space for the month and also the days of the week. So then that way I would be able to have some nice even calendars. My calendar goes through August of 2021 to July of 2022. I did have a yearly calendar beside me, so I was able to fill in the calendar relatively quickly without making any mistakes, which is an actual miracle because that never happens with me. I usually make at least 1 or 2 mistakes and then I have to redo the whole spread at some point, and it's very sad. I think once I actually messed up the days on one of them, but I didn't notice until maybe halfway through, and it was really sad. I was extremely disheartened by that. But yeah, I'm going to do that, and then I will do the same thing. I will trace over the abstract circles, and I will paint them with watercolor in just a few minutes. change of camera angles just so you can see me actually do these circles. I took my watercolors again and I went through each of the circles and just colored them different shades of oranges and yellows and things like that. This time I used a lot more pigment just because I wanted the circles to be a lot more bold. I also apologize for the camera movement and the lighting. It was just not a fun time filming during a very weird period, so I sincerely apologize for that. As I flipped over the page, I am now working on my weighting on a spread. This is a spread that I am going to use to keep track of all of my packages, as many of us in this world are doing. We're doing a lot more online shopping, so I thought that it would be useful to include something like this for myself and also to keep track of my packages, spending, all that kind of stuff. So we're just creating a table here where I'm going to list the item, and then I will list the date that I ordered it and the delivery date as well. And then beside it, I'm going to have a list of wants, needs, and gifts. So if I have any birthdays or holidays or something coming up, I'll be able to keep track of those. Also, this spread is more of an accountability spread than anything else, to be honest. And it'll also help me not spend so much money. Now, as you can see, I am doing all of these circles very clustered. They're very large. Like I said, this is basically me emulating Elizabeth, a plant-based bride. So I really liked the way that she did it, so I wanted to copy it, and I thought it looked really, really nice. So like I said, I will link her video down below in case you are interested. I just really, really loved the theme and the way that she did it, and I just was really inspired. So that's basically what I did. However, the fonts on these ones are a little bit different because I wanted to do something a little more whimsical, but also incorporate some of that cross-hatching and hatching in my spread. second to last spread is my work to-do list and my personal to-do list. These are to help me separate my work and personal to-do lists, but also I want to have one place where I can keep a master to-do list of things that I just need to do. Also, you can see my face. I'm basically just trying to check the lighting, so I'm so sorry about that. But anyways, I am creating this list here with various different fonts. As you can see, I'm tracing over all of my pencil lines first, then I will erase them. I did put in some lines and abstract circles. I wanted to kind of make it look a little bit more like a frame than anything else, and I think it turned out really, really nice. I'm actually quite pleased with the way that this turned out, and I'm hoping that this will help me keep track of everything a little bit better. So this spread that I am doing here is the books I've read so far spread. I finally got back into reading and it's been a blast, and I wanted to keep track of all of the books that I have read so far. So what I am doing here is I am just tracing out the title, and the table itself is going to include the title, the author, the year that it was published, and when I rated it, so I kind of remember what I've read and what I need to read, if that makes sense. So I also have a reading journal as well that I like to keep too. I don't really necessarily use it for YouTube, but I do have that. Oh, also for the chart, before I totally forget, I did also put the genre there so I can keep track of all the genres that I read as well. But basically, as you can see, very self-explanatory, just adding those decorations, and then I am going to write in the 2 books that I've read so far this year, which are Gender Trouble by Judith Butler, which is a non-fiction book, and of course The Bell Jar by Sylvia Plath as well, which is a wonderful fiction book. this spread is my Save Don't Spend spread. This is to A, keep me accountable, and B, to force me to keep track of my spending. I am trying to pay down some debts and it's been a little difficult, so I thought that I would actually create something that might help me stay accountable, if that makes sense. So I have a few charts here. I have the spending chart, which is pretty self-explanatory. I have the number, the date, and the amount that I spent. And then I have card 1 and card 2, and I want to keep track each month of how much I have on those cards. So basically the statement amount that needs to be paid off each month, so I remember. And then what I want to do is I want to calculate how much I've paid off, how much I've spent, and how much I have left to pay off, if that makes sense. So I am going to divide those up, and then I am going to just paint in all the abstract circles and some other places too. And yeah, I just think having those particular spreads is really going to help me continue to not spend so much money on unnecessary things, and it may also help curb this thing that we all like to call an impulse buy as well. Is everything. Thank you so much for watching. I will link the products that I have used down below, as well as Elizabeth's video, in case you would like to see her version as well. Otherwise, I will see you in my next video. Goodbye.